What if suffering is not just something we survive, but something that transforms us, something that cracks open the walls we've built around our hearts and shows us a part of ourselves we never knew existed? History, philosophy, and spirituality all suggest that the deepest growth often comes not in moments of comfort, but in seasons of pain. This idea doesn't deny how brutal suffering can be, but it dares to ask, can pain be a path to awakening? We've all seen it. The person who lost everything and yet speaks with wisdom that others envy. The survivor of tragedy who now lives with a fire of compassion. The one who faced death and returned with a deeper love for life. These stories show us something profound, that suffering, while never desirable, can become a furnace that forges character. Not because the pain was good, but because something good refused to die in it. This idea is echoed in spiritual teachings across the world. In the Bible, suffering is described as a fire that refines gold. In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna must go through despair to awaken his divine purpose. The Buddha's own path to enlightenment began with a realization of suffering. In each case, pain is not the end of the road. It's the beginning of transformation. But let's be clear, this doesn't mean pain is always noble. Some suffering is senseless. Some trauma leaves scars so deep they never fully heal. This isn't about romanticizing suffering, but about recognizing that in the aftermath, something powerful can rise. Sometimes the pain carves space for a deeper version of yourself to emerge, a more courageous, humble, and awakened self. Pain humbles us. It reminds us we're not in control. It shatters pride and self-delusion. And strangely, it connects us to others. When you've suffered deeply, you begin to see others not as strangers, but as fellow travelers. There's a quiet dignity in someone who has suffered and still chooses to be kind. That kind of strength can't be taught in books. It's forged in the dark. And maybe that's why, even in suffering, we find sacred moments. A mother holding her dying child with more love than the world can measure. A prisoner choosing to forgive. A man facing death, yet encouraging others to live fully. These are not signs of God's absence. These may be the most powerful signs of His presence, working through human hearts that refuse to let pain have the last word. There is also another side to transformation, meaning. Psychologists like Viktor Frankl, who survived Nazi concentration camps, wrote that the key to survival wasn't pleasure or power, but purpose, finding meaning even in suffering. Not because pain is good, but because life is still worth living. Even in its worst moments, Frankl said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. So maybe the question is not just, why do we suffer, but also, what do we become because of it? Maybe the greatest tragedy is not the suffering itself, but a life that refuses to rise from it. Maybe God doesn't always take the pain away, but gives us the strength to rise higher through it. That's a different kind of miracle, not the absence of suffering, but the transformation within it.